the Friends Outdoor Life. A little bit different scenery here today. If you've watched my other videos, you know we're in North Alabama, but there's no white sand in North Alabama. So today we're in the extreme South Alabama, and we're going to do a little flounder fishing tonight. And it's hard to video in the pitch darkness at 10:30 at night. So we're going to do this now, get a good video. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Hopefully we'll kill enough you can see us clean one too.
Right there he is.
And work our way around it again.
That's where he was.
Right on the side of that rock right there.
Yeah, right there is where he was on that point. Pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was where he was.
There's another one right there. Isn't it? No. There's that transition point right there.
Yeah, don't. For certain, stick 'em.
Yeah, I was for sure.
You
I
are.
was for certain, yeah. So I'll give you some explanation here. I've never done this before, and a good friend named Shane took me out to try this, and these are LED lights, and his is the green one, mine was a white one, but it went out for a few minutes here. But this was the best video I had of these troughs where the flounder like to lay still and wait for their prey to come over them. So here you see me maybe shoot at a couple of fish as they dart by, and I was not very good at that or very successful at killing those. I did get a crab there, as you see in the video, but this is a great great thing to do at night at the beach. Like I said, these LED lights light up the world. We saw several rays. We saw 2 or 3 small flounder, but flounder had to be at least 12 inches to be legal limit, and we only saw one of those, and this next video will show you that footage.
Freaking grown. That's a good gulfie right there.
Alright, I should be on camera. Should be rolling.
It's a nice one. Headshot. That's what you're after.
Good job. Good shot.
Alright, he's back there to him. That's a heck of a load. I couldn't not stick him.
No, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was scared he was going to run.
So what Shane was talking about there, he said he could not gig him. He was going to let me gig the first one we saw, but this one we were afraid it was about to take off. So he knew it was a great fish, and he didn't want us to leave empty-handed, so he went ahead and took it. Here we're just taking it off the gig and putting it on a stringer. Alright, so now fast forward till today. Literally, we're fast forwarding here because all I'm doing is skinning a fish. I can't make an instructional video about something I've never done before, and this is the first time I've done this. So yesterday was the first time I'd ever even seen a flounder. So I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do this, but if you've never seen it done, here's a chance to do it. All I'm doing at this point is scaling the flounder. I'm using an oyster knife I found here in the condo and just scraping against the grain here to scale off all the scales. I'm getting as close to the fins as I can because I want to get all the scales off before we go to cook it, because nobody wants to eat a scale, right? So just back and forth. This went a lot better and easier than I thought it was. Starting on the bottom side first here on the white side as you look at it. So there we go, on and on and on. So at that point I was finished with the bottom side, and I flipped it over to start the top side where when they're laying on the beach, they're hiding, and I'm showing my wife there their eyes. You know, in North Alabama we've never seen anything like this, so I was showing her they lay there and they're with the 2 eyes looking up, and man, they got a sharp set of teeth in there. So I was showing her that. Pretty fascinating fish for someone who'd never seen one before. So now same thing on the upper side. We're just taking this oyster knife and I'm scaling these scales off, pulling back against the grain, just like I did on the bottom side here, just back and forth, trying to get all the scales all the way up, and now washing those off. And next part is going to be having to cut the head off. So washing all the scales, make sure I got all the scales off here, washing my hands and trying to get all the scales off the granite countertop here and out of the sink. And again, this is someone else's condo. The last thing I want to do is to make a mess in their condo. But anyway, getting it all cleaned up. Next part here is pretty neat. You have to find where their backbone goes down the center of the fish, and you want to cut that skin all the way down to that backbone, all the way down from top to bottom. And again, not trying to do an instructional video here, but this is a super dull knife. Doing the best I can. I changed knives several times here, just trying to find one that would do it. And then I realized I need to cut the head off, and it'd be easier to make that cut in the right place. So fast forwarding here is going through this of cutting that head down down the spine and below where their belly is there, and where the guts are is down that lower section. So I'm going to get that head off, and then we will move on to doing the same thing on the other side. So here I finally get through with those dull kitchen shears and get all of that top part, the head and the belly and all that cut off. So go ahead and wash that because it had a little blood on it, so I want to keep a clean work area. So we wash that off, clean that off, and get ready to get all the way down. Make sure you get all the way down to that spine, and then you can take the knife, turn it sideways, and cut down the rib cage here. You can kind of feel that. I watched several YouTube videos here. Again, I'd never done this before, so I watched several YouTube videos. Some people use a electric knife there. I think it's key to have a sharp knife, and then the more practice you get, it's like anything else. You develop your own technique, you develop your own skills, and you get better at it. The more you do anything, the better you get at it. For my first time, again, I was really pleasantly surprised how smooth it went, how easy it was, both to scale it and then to find those ribs, and just take this dull knife right down the rib cage and pull it all the way down. You want to go all the way down to that bottom skin where the fin is, but not cut through. If you cut all the way through, then you're going to have a mess, and you won't have your pouch to stuff this. There's two ways you can go about it. You can do 4 fillets, or you can do a stuffed flounder. I wanted stuffed flounder, crab stuffed flounder to be exact. So I wanted to leave a pouch here in order to stuff it. You can't stuff it if there's no pouch to stuff it in. So here, same thing other side. Get all the way down to that fin on that side. Get as far back as you can at the tail to make your pouch as big as possible. So again, going down those bones, and those bones went down the entire fish, extruding out from that center backbone all the way out to the edges. So you just see me just cut a little bit of time, not going too far. Flip the fish over and do the same thing. It's very easy to see that backbone line down the the bottom of the fish here, and do the same thing. Go front to back, or from tail to where the head was there, right down that backbone. I changed knives. I couldn't get the knife that I liked. But same thing, go all the way down the backbone here, and then you'll go the same thing you did on the other side to go down those rib cage all the way down to his fin on both sides. So I didn't really have a recipe, but I knew what I wanted to do, and I've done several similar recipes. But again, in a condo where I don't have a lot of the things I would usually put in there. So the recipe I ended up using was butter, onions, panko breadcrumbs, Italian breadcrumbs. Put in, again, more butter. One thing you can't have too much of is butter. And I also put in some cream cheese, some mayonnaise, lots of Parmesan cheese, and then the lump crab meat or imitation crab meat there. Brown those onions, saute those in a pan, and then add those other ingredients and stir it all together. And again, make it as hot or spicy as you want. If you had Tony Sasseries, it'd be a great thing to put that in there. Plenty of recipes online. Again, I just had to go with what I had here in the condo. Go get a couple things at Publix. I'll tell you a funny story about that in a minute. And make this thing the best I could with what I had here. So again, doing the same thing I did on the other side, just trying to get this pouch ready. Now I'm starting to cut the bones out. Great fish. Process was a whole lot of fun, and I can assure you one thing, I am going to do this again. I've already been looking at lights, so I can do this next time I come back to the beach. Alright, so getting down to the finished work here, just got to cut out all these bones. So you want to cut as close to the top fins and the lower fins as you can here, and you're going all the way back as far as you can go back to the tail. And it's a pretty tough bone with a dull set of kitchen shears, but once you've got this cut out, then you're left with 4 nice pieces of meat. That bone, we'll set that to the side for now. And you've got these nice fillets, but you keep them together and you can have a nice place to put your stuffing in there. Well, here's the finished product as I was putting it in the oven. It turned out to work pretty well. The funny story I was going to tell you was we were leaving the beach about 3 o'clock, and I said, I'm going to run to the grocery store and get what I need for that fish. And I remembered seeing my money clip in the console earlier in the day when I was getting the shovel out of the car. So I said, I'm not even going to the room. I was going to go straight from the beach to Publix and get what I need. Well, I got to Publix and it turned out that wasn't my money clip. It was one of the kids' money. It was $5. So I basically had $2 for change from the toll road plus that $5 bill to get what I needed in Publix. But I was able to get it, and it all worked out okay. But it really goes back to my motto of doing what you can, when you can, with what you got. And in this case, wow, did it turn out amazing. This was absolutely the best fish I've ever eaten. Can't wait to do it again.